headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
He's a climate columnist for The Independent, Donnachadh McCarthy. Good evening, Donnachadh.
Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I'm all right. What do you feel about this? I mean, there will be a lot of people, perhaps on my side of the fence, will rather applaud this incident that, these helmet cam cyclist vigilantes do seem to feel they have the right to kind of come up and cut people off, shout through their windscreens, shout through their windows. You can't do that. I'm filming you. I'm going to the police. Well, this guy down in Bristol, I'm leaving his name out. It's only fair. He's been told, well, you're the one breaking the law. You stop the traffic, you stop this guy going about his lawful business, and you might face a £1,000 fine. That might go some way, Donnachadh, might it not, towards getting rid of this horrible little telltale sneaky society that we seem to be creating?
Well, you won't be surprised that I wish a society where a child could cycle to school without being endangered with death and crushed to death.
Yeah, but a bloke filming someone behind the wheel of a car on the phone, that's not going to save that kid, is it?
Yes, it will, because actually we'll potentially put that driver off the road. We can't have people who actually think it's okay to drive in a way that's lethal to children. I hope you accept that is something I value.
But you're portioning off your children. You're sort of taking something very emotive and saying, well, if someone's on the phone behind the wheel of their car, they're going to kill a kid. Well, yes, potentially, but they might not. They probably won't.
That's like saying a gunman might possibly kill a kid, but they might not. Come on, Kevin.
Well, that's true.
It is true, and actually the law states that we shouldn't be wandering around with guns.
That's a ridiculously emotive comparison to make. A guy on a mobile phone in his white van is not equivalent to a guy with a gun in his hand, is he?
Yes, he absolutely is.
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous.
Why? How many people are killed by guns?
Oh, come on. It's a guy on the phone in his car. He's not a killer.
Well, that's actually where you're actually completely wrong. The fact
he's definitely a killer every single time, is he?
I did not say that. I said they are... Well, okay.
Well, explain to me why he's the same as a gunman.
Somebody is killed or seriously injured every 3 days by a driver in the UK using a mobile phone. Mm-hmm. We should bring this to an end, just like we brought drunk driving to being punished correctly. And this guy's doing his civic duty. Millions of drivers think it's okay to wander around with a phone that potentially can kill a kid, a pensioner, or a nurse.
Okay, well, we're widening the remit of who they might kill. It's not just kids, then.
Well,
you said kids because it's more emotive. Makes your point more strongly.
Yes, because I, as a member of...
It might kill a kind of middle-aged Nazi white guy, mightn't it? What would you think about that?
As a co-founder of Stop King Cyclists, I have had the unfortunate experience to constantly meet families whose children or parents or husband has been killed by a driver. I meet those people. It is phenomenally emotional to those people, and it is a value to society that we should not have people driving around in a way that is even worse than drink driving. Do you support drink driving?
Of course I don't. But also, Donnachadh, let's get this straight. I don't support talking on the phone while you're driving. It's not a safe thing to do. Good. Of course I don't. But here's what I don't support more. I do not support the idea of a nation full of nasty little sneaks running around with their phones, taking films of their fellow citizens and running to the police and going, look what he did. Do you want to live in a nation like that? It's pathetic.
Do you know the actual stats are that 4 times more drivers report driving offences to the police than cyclists? 4 times more. That's because
that's numerically because there's more car drivers than there are cyclists.
Yes, but do you condemn them as well?
Well, it depends in what circumstances they do it. If they make a point of going round with a camera, filming people, breaking the law and then running to the police to wreck their lives, then no, I don't support them.
No, actually, what's wrecking lives is people's bodies being crushed or their lives destroyed in a crash by a driver.
But what about the cultural implications of a nation full of nasty little sneaks going round filming their fellow citizens and then reporting them to the police? Sounds like kind of 1970s East Germany to me.
Well, what we have is a culture of actually tolerating lethal behaviour by drivers in our society. And I would argue...
Yeah, but you have to
I would argue that we have a car-centric society that's lethal. It's damaging the climate. It's damaging people's lungs. And it's actually clogging up our economy. What we need to do is move to a society where our towns and cities, people travel around not in cars, but in bikes, public transport, or walking. That's the sort of society we need to be moving towards.
I mean, I'm not sort of arguing with you about that. I mean, I have sort of slightly different ideas, but I'm not against environmentalism. I'm not against a healthier way of living. I'm not sure that we've got the balance right, but you know, for the sake of argument, we're on the same page on that to a slight extent. It's just this idea of people telling tales on each other. You know, when I was at school, the teachers say, don't sneak on people, don't tell tales behind other people's back. This culture you're talking about, that you're applauding, is turning us into a nation of people who do that, and I don't like it, and I don't think a lot of other people like it either.
I think where we can find some common ground as well is maybe we don't like the observance, or the security society. However, I think there's a reasonable case in this circumstance because the behaviour is so lethal. That's where I think the line should be drawn.
But what sort of person devotes their lives to getting on their bicycle with their little helmet camera on and then setting out? And that's, you know, there are lots of them do. They set out to go and catch some motorists on the phone. And what kind of a person does that?
Usually somebody who's actually either experienced or is aware of the lethal danger. I mean, this guy describes why he started doing it was because he saw a guy driving down a school road where there's loads of kids, and he saw the danger that were being put to them by the driver using the mobile phone. That's what inspired him to do this. I mean,
I'm going to go to the normal area of conflict for people like you and me, Donnachadh. Don't you think it's dangerous for cyclists to jump red lights?
Sure. If you look at the figures over the last 10 years, the people killed at red lights have been killed by drivers. Not a single person has been killed.
Well, that's maybe because the cyclists keep jumping the red lights. That's probably the problem, right?
No, the actual. Have
you seen some of the red lights in London? I mean, there's like 100 cyclists. They don't even wait for the lights to turn. They just go straight through the red lights all the time. That's dangerous.
So
I'm going to get a helmet cam and take a film of them and go to the police. No, I'm not going to do that.
No, you're breaking your own. I've won, have I?
Yeah, you win. Thanks very much, buddy. No, but seriously.
That's great.
Seriously, Donnachadh, they can. Some of the cyclists do tend to ride somewhat roughshod over the rules of the road. Not all of them, of course, but it is very prevalent here in London.
I think what I will totally accept is pedestrians, cyclists and drivers all collectively are sometimes awful on the roads, and they're all sometimes collectively good on the roads. However, what I think is really important is which one kills people, which one injures people. And it's the drivers crashing through red lights is killing people, not cyclists crashing through red lights.
Yeah, but the cyclists who crash through red lights do put themselves at risk for obvious reasons, don't they?
They do if they don't do it. If they crash through without looking where they're going. I mean, I personally think we should go through what many European cities have done. It's a thing called the Idaho law, is where cyclists treat the red light as a yield right away sign. You come to the light, you look right, you look left, if there's no traffic, you go through it, and pedestrians have right away. That's been done in Paris and Brussels.
Why can't cars do that?
Because they are travelling at a faster speed.
No, but they stop. They'll stop. They have a look both ways, like the cyclist, and do exactly the same with the cyclist. Why can't they do that?
Because drivers are actually the ones who are actually killing people at junctions, not cyclists.
Well, cyclists kill people sometimes.
Cyclists do kill around one person per year through the cyclists.
Well, that's a really high number, and we've got to do something about that. Seriously, Donnachadh, thank you so much for a spirited debate. We're not quite on the same page, and I doubt if we ever will be, but good to talk to Donnachadh McCarthy, climate columnist for The Independent.
Good talk. Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk radio. Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV. The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk radio.